Just My Type Podcast.
Here we go. Hello, around the block and around the world. This is the Just My Type podcast, where we discuss, debate, and deliberate all things diabetes, representing type 2. My name is Dobie Maxwell, representing type 1, the vivacious, the effervescent, the always in the know, Sami Parker. We'll get to Sami in just a second. But first, today's episode of the Just My Type podcast is sponsored by the Diabetes app. You got a phone? You need this app. It's a free social community app that brings together both type 1 and type 2 diabetics, plus their supporters. Find community, resources, and Sami and I on the Diabetes app. Hey, Sami.
Hey, Dobie. I just love the introduction. You boost my ego going into the podcast. So, it gives me that little extra burst of confidence.
Well, that hopefully it'll lower your blood sugar. Now, did you take your blood sugar before the episode? We always do that with you.
Yeah. So my blood sugar was, okay, it's kind of bizarre. I rode a little high all night, and a high blood sugar typically is anywhere from 170 and higher. And I kind of rode at 200, but then I naturally am coming down. So right now I'm 129 with an arrow down.
With an arrow down. See, it's funny because I'm from Wisconsin. I know you don't get to the Midwest much, but we bowl a lot. Have you ever been bowling?
I go bowling all the time.
See, a bowling average and blood sugar, I think for Midwestern listeners in the United States, if your blood sugar is above your bowling average, it's time to stop the sugars.
Yeah. I'm not the best bowler. I mean, sometimes it's a hit or miss for me.
Well, bowling's just fun. You do it with your friends.
Totally.
You hang out.
Yes.
It's a social kind of thing. Well, today what we're going to talk about, our subject is diet related. We'll be doing a lot of episodes on diet because it's a huge part of the diabetes experience. But today we're going to talk about counting carbohydrates.
Yes.
Before I got diagnosed, I had heard the word. I had no idea what a carbohydrate even was. I thought it was a band name. Who knows? Do they play at Lollapalooza, the Carbohydrates? Now, you have a lot of experience with this, so I'll defer to your knowledge. Do you count carbohydrates every day?
So I think being type 1, you kind of start to become not immune to carbohydrates, but they're always in the back of your head.
Mm-hmm.
And just for everybody to even know what a carbohydrate is, it's a macronutrient, and it can come in the form of sugar, fiber, or starch. And so I think carbohydrates get a lot of bad rap from a lot of people, which is really sad because first, carbs are amazing. They taste great. And two, they're the energy that your body uses all day long. And it's really important to eat carbs, even though we think oh my gosh, it's a carbohydrate. It has calories. We need to stay away. But really, a carbohydrate is what your body's running off of. So it's really important that we do get them, but we just want to make sure it depends on the kind of carbohydrate because they differ.
I don't want to put words in your mouth. Would it be the equivalent of putting good quality gas in your car, not watered down? You want it to be maybe premium?
1,000%, that's totally accurate because, I'll go to one gas station and my car is not running the best. I go to the next gas station, I pay top dollar, but my car is running mighty fine. So yes, that's a great parallel, Dobie.
Well, when I got diagnosed, my doctor told me to start counting carbohydrates. And that means basically going to the grocery store, even if you have to have your phone and take a picture of labels. The thing recently in labels, I don't know how it is in other countries, but in the States, it's all right on the label. And for years it wasn't. I don't know how diabetics survived, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. But now it's pretty easy. You look at, okay, this item has this many carbs in it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can mix and match.
Did they give you a booklet? Because for me, I went to Children's Hospital and they gave me a booklet and it was called Calorie King.
Mm-hmm.
And it has every single carb, calorie, and other macronutrient in it. But how did they kind of not even shift you into a specific way of eating, but what was kind of the regimen they basically persuaded you?
Well, I don't know. You were a kid. I was an adult, and they were a little snotty about it. You have a limit of carbs. This is what it is. You go one over, you're going to be found dead in the aisle of the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm kidding. But it just seemed that dramatic. So I remember the first time I went out to try to get some food, I'm thinking, I can't eat anything in this entire store because there are carbohydrates in it. Maybe some kelp, some kale, something I've never eaten before. I can eat that like an animal, carrot greens or something like that. And it was very intimidating.
Yeah.
And I was over the top. And I think type 2s, for our experience, we go out there and you're so gung-ho, I'm not going to eat another carbohydrate. And then you find out that doesn't work because there's only 3 things you can eat. And then you go exactly the other way. Well, I can have a treat once in a while, an entire loaf of bread and a whole jug of peanut butter. That doesn't work either. Got to be down in the groove, baby.
So you're telling me that you weren't allowed to have cookie and Twinkie every morning?
No, I tried to invent something. I wanted to invent whole wheat ding dongs.
Whole wheat ding dongs. That's amazing.
Yeah. because it's so diabetic friendly. I haven't been able to perfect it yet.
No
But
shame.
now, what was your experience as a type 1? I think I found the groove. I think the number was 90.
90 carbs?
90 carbs, 90 grams of
Yeah.
carbohydrates.
So that's something that I personally I hate. I hate it. I don't know why. I hate that has to be a given number of carbs. I'm sure every diabetic listening right now knows it's very like subject to where you're at in life. So I've gone through like so many different kind of phases depending on my hormone levels or if I was more insulin resistant, my age, what I was eating, like if I was dancing a ton, if I was working out a lot, if I was being a couch potato. And I think I have a ton of experiences doing different ones that we can get to in totally another episode. But for me, I kind of now take the approach of like, it's not how many carbs you eat, but it's the type of carb you eat.
Okay.
And I think that's like the most important thing when thinking about consuming carbohydrates. Because, for example, like Dobie, you could eat, a potato and that is 35 carbs. And then you could eat a bowl of cereal and a serving size is also 35 carbs for like Cocoa Puffs. Okay. Let's take Cocoa Puffs.
Uh-huh.
But the way Cocoa Puffs are going to break down your body is night and day to the way a sweet potato is going to break down your body. And I think that like the traditional, and I don't like bashing on them, but the choose my plate and, like a lot of the times how people do the specific amount of carbs and different companies are like, this is the amount of carb you can eat. I'm like, no, because if you eat 90 carbs in chicken Alfredo pasta and pizza, well, hell, you're only going to have freaking carbohydrates at dinner because that freaking consumes all of it. So I get frustrated by it.
Well, I can see why you get frustrated because it's intimidating. It's overwhelming. Now, everybody's got a different body style,
Yeah.
height, weight. Where I'm from, they're big boned. No, they're fat because I'm from the Midwest and we eat poorly here. But California, where you live, is more health conscious. And I know we have listeners all over the world. Other countries are very much more health conscious than America.
Yeah.
And I can say that as an American because Americans boast, well, we're the number one country in the world because we get taught that as a kid. But I'm very humble. I don't think that all the time because people have cultures in other parts of the world that are a lot deeper and longer in tenure. You see what I'm saying?
Very true.
Like Chinese culture is thousands of years.
Yeah.
And they have natural health things. And I think diabetes has been around for a while now. So other countries have had more of a time to adjust to it than America, who is just everything's on TV. Well, eat this fast food thing, eat that, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs kind of a thing. Nobody gets cuckoo for vegetables. You're always cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, no. I actually have.
They don't care if you're alive.
No, they don't care. They don't care. But I have an interesting story. So, really quick.
Okay, go ahead.
This is like a little side note. So, everybody, side note. Okay, basically, I couldn't eat bread for a long time because of the carbohydrate and I was insulin resistant. So, I went and I studied abroad in college. And I studied abroad in Switzerland, but I went to Italy on the weekends. And I couldn't eat bread before because let's face it, all the bread here is like injected with whatever chemicals that are put into them, unless you get that organic, only real whole wheat grain bread. Okay. But like even that, there's something injected. I swear. So go to Italy. I am starving. Me and my friend are eating at this restaurant and I eat literally an entire basket of bread. And I know you're thinking, oh my God, she's going to pay for it.
Call the ambulance.
I didn't pay for it. Like my blood sugars stayed literally flat after I'm not kidding you when I say basket of bread, like a basket of bread, because Italy, everything they make is like homemade from the farm, real wheat, real grain. It didn't affect my blood sugars at all, but I just thought that was crazy. I mean, that's like a perfect example.
I don't think it's crazy. I think we're crazy here in the States.
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
we
That's
have
fair.
morphed so far off whatever normal is. We are not that at all.
No.
And I think rather than, just whine about the way society is, I think we have to react to it as diabetics. Like, okay, this is how it is. Our personal health is more important than
Yeah.
some big restaurant chain or some grocery store chain because you don't even think about it.
No.
I mean, all these things, it's like, well, okay, this is what I ate when I was a kid and it was okay then. And you look at the carb count, it's like, well, there's a comma in the number. It's like, holy Christmas, it is way higher than you think.
Oh, 1000%. It's kind of funny because I realized like when I was in other places or countries, they don't have vending machines everywhere. We're the only country, I swear, that has the amount of vending machines we have in every corner. And it's filled. There's like maybe once in a blue moon, I will see like, one of those hard-boiled egg packages. And I'm thinking, oh, who the heck would eat a hard-boiled egg out of this vending machine?
Yeah.
But Like, majority of the time, it's just filled with crap, literally.
Well, what we want to do here is create a community where you can unfill your life with crap and put good things in. What do you think a
Yeah.
good substitute, a plan of attack for a type 1 or a type 2? I think even if you're not diabetic, we could all change our diets.
Yeah, well, okay, so well, first off, how do you, like, approach your day? Like, your daily life? Are you, like, wake up and you're like, fruit is calling me. Yeah, baby, go on and get the fruit."
Here's how my life works, Sammy. This is why we're so opposite, and it's good for the show because my life is I wake up with a crisis going on, and I just spend the rest of my day putting out fires,
Okay.
flaming problems, and there's stress and there's pressure. I'm only exaggerating just a little bit. Being a self employed, I'm an entertainer, and something I had a gig and it fell apart, and now I have to replace that week.
The hustle's
The
real.
hustle is totally real. I'm not saying that people that don't have that lifestyle don't have pressure. Working for another place, or you go to school and you have things. We all have pressures in our lives. And my point of the whole thing is planning is important. And a lot of times I don't have the chance to plan. As a single person, as a diabetic, I think, okay, I should plan out my diet for the week and I should have a little the
Mhm.
oatmeal. Oh, I'm hungry. Okay, the phone rang. I got to do this thing. I'll just drive through the drive through window. I'll have a couple of things
No.
there. I understand that I'm taking the bullet for everybody else because I know I'm not the only one that does that because drive-through windows have 25 cars.
Totally. You know what I think could be a killer future episode?
Mm,
Grocery shopping. We talk all about grocery shopping.
amen.
I love grocery shopping. I'm like a weirdo. I will go into like 5 grocery stores in a week because I'm like, "Ooh, I wonder what Sprouts has today. Ooh, I wonder what Hummus Tip Whole Foods has."
You're talking foreign language. You're talking Japan. Want hummus.
Sorry.
Want Whole Foods. No, this is all good. I think we need to meet in the middle.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about just like what a good and bad food is.
Please do.
And this is funny because I think people right now are like, "Oh my gosh, she's saying there's good and bad foods. That's so hypocritical." No, 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 no. Rewind. A good food means your blood sugars for you individually are okay with it. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to consume it and then I'm going to raise a little and then I'm going to come back down." And then a bad food does not mean calorically or nutritiously that it's bad. It just means that for your blood sugars, they don't like it. And you can't help it. You can't choose. Your body's just like, reject. So, for an example, oatmeal. Okay. Super, super amazing carbohydrate. Great fuel source for the day. Can make it super yummy. But when I eat it, I know that my blood sugar will be 260 after, no matter how much insulin I take. I've tried it 6, 7 times.
Is it what you dress it up with?
No, no, that's the weird
I mean,
thing.
you can have oatmeal and then you put it.
Like, I will only dress it up, with some, like, real ground cinnamon and, maybe a banana. But even then, I'm like, "Well, I can eat bananas, no problem." But the oatmeal, I just doesn't want to. And I will say, sometimes I just bite the bullet because I'm like, I want that big bowl of oatmeal. So I'm just gonna take the bullet and work out a ton after with insulin. But that's a bad food for me. And then, like, a good food is fruit. Like, I can eat as much fruit as I want, and it goes up, and my blood sugar comes back down. And it's strange because some people might be like, I can't eat a single blueberry without my blood sugar being like zing. And for me, it's like I eat a blueberry, comes back down. But I think it's important to know the concept of a good and a bad food and also not thinking because of how doctors approach this sometimes and like, you can eat whatever you want. No, like, yes, you can, but you also have to find out what works for you individually and what is a good and what is a bad food.
Now, what's a good way to experiment? I would think that you don't want to have something that, okay, I've never really had this before. Say blueberries, for example. I'm
Hmm.
going to eat a little, a serving. How many servings are blueberries in a serving? 10, 15, 20, a pound, a jug, who knows?
Yeah.
And then you go out and you way to work and you're on the freeway. And next thing you know, you're face down on the steering wheel with the horn blowing, blocking traffic because you had a hypoglycemic explosion.
Okay, so I think something that's important when you're testing these out is one, maybe do it on the weekend if you're not working. Two, start out small with like quantity. So that's something I think I realized. Like when I shifted to plant based, I integrated fruit into my diet very minimally to not have that instant spike. And also pre bolus. So if you know you're going to eat a big carbohydrate, like Dobie, I know you don't really have to pre bolus, but I guess a parallel pre bolus for you would be like maybe go on a 2-mile walk and then try eating a food that you're worried might raise your blood sugar because your insulin sensitivity will be increased, which means your insulin will be effective in your body that's being produced. So I think that's like a good thing for like a type 2 would be like maybe drink a cup of water before, go on like a mini walk and make sure it's on the weekend when you're not going to a serious thing. And for a type 1, like pre bolus, make sure you start out small, maybe take more insulin than you think you need and catch it before you go low, but definitely just kind of like finding that groove and testing it out for yourself.
Well, I know I'm old and I'm going to talk about an old school reference, but cars used to have carburetors in them. I don't know if you ever heard that term.
Unfortunately, I have not.
It's okay, and it's okay if people haven't. But what it is now, things are more computerized and they're regimented. There's fuel injection, and the fuel gets injected in and there's a spark, and it makes the car go.
Mhm.
And a carburetor, there's a fuel and air mixture, and it would burn, and the gasoline would burn and run the car. And sometimes it was lean, and sometimes it was rich. And there was always an adjustment of your carburetor to get the ultimate fuel efficiency in your car. I think what you're talking about is the same way, the ultimate fuel air mixture in our bodies,
Mhm.
what carbohydrates, so we can have the efficient. I don't know. I mean, you don't want to spike high or low when you're out at work or on a date or
No.
wherever, church. I don't know.
No. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, it's terrible when that happens. It can be brutal because it can ruin your whole mood, and you're like, "Ah." But so that's why I think it's important, like, trial and error always, because you don't learn unless you try, but then also, like, trial and error in a safe environment that is not gonna impact you in a negative way.
Prison. You're in prison for 20 years. It's like, I'll have a couple of grapes, see what happens. That's a little extreme. That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little extreme, but it's a good parallel.
It is a good parallel. We appreciate you joining us. We're going to take a little break right now, get some word from the sponsors. That's what keeps us going. Come right back. Sami and I came up with a fun game we want called Count the Carbohydrates, Guess Your Carb. We got to come up with a good name for it.
I think it should be guessing your carbs.
Guessing Your
At
Carbs
the
with Sami and
snacks.
Dobie. Coming right back, and we'll see the foods that you eat if you can guess the carbs. Coming right back. This is the Just My Type podcast. The Diabetes app is an online community platform that was created to help people living with diabetes find support and information in one spot.
And on the Diabetes app, you can join groups and connect with other people all over the world who are also living with diabetes. I mean, for me, whenever I have a bad day, I find myself scrolling through the mental wellness group just to reassure myself that I'm not alone.
The Diabetes app has a resource section where you can find articles, recipes, tips, and tricks for managing your diabetes. Download the Diabetes app today and connect with us right on the app.
DietStrong is an online telehealth platform that connects you to medical and holistic professionals to help you manage your diabetes. Find registered dietitians, nutritionists, certified diabetes educators, and more without the hassle of having to go into a doctor's office.
Wait. You mean a lazy bum like me can have appointments right from my computer? Sign me up.
That's right, Dobie. And this week, our listeners can use promo code JMT25 for 25% off their first visit.
Yeah, don't try to cheat and go to JMT26 because you're not going to get 26. It's 25. Go to www.diastronghealth.com. That's www.diastronghealth.com. Okay, we're back. I'm Dobie Maxwell. She is Sami Parker. We are going to together play a game called Guess the Carbs. Is that what it's called, Sami?
Yeah, I like it. Guess.
I was just trying to get the domain name during the commercial. I'm trying to get the domain name so nobody steals it on us.
Maybe like guess the carbs or like guessing your carbs.
Guessing your
No, I like
carbs.
guess the carbs. Guess that carb.
Guess that carb. That's better. I like that the best.
Yeah. Our producer just came up with that one. She said, guess that carb. I think that's better.
That's what she's like. It's Elizabeth is our producer. She is great, along with Rosa.
Shout out Elizabeth and Rosa.
They sort out our fan mail by the ton.
Pod
which we don't
Squad.
get. Pod
Just kidding.
Squad. They're our Pod Squad. We appreciate every successful race car driver needs a pit crew, and they're our awesome pit crew. So let's play the game now.
Okay.
You want to go first? You want me to go first? I went grocery shopping. You went grocery shopping. I came up with a list of items that our listeners will probably eat and see if together we can guess the carbs.
Okay, so how about you start? You can like say it, and then I'm going to guess the carbs, and you can go if I'm wrong, and then ding, ding, ding if I'm right.
Okay, I'm gonna write to the worst one.
Okay.
Pop-Tarts. Because single guys like me, you get up in the morning, you got a place to go, I'll grab a Pop-Tart. You know what? That was pretty small.
Okay, a single Pop-Tart or two?
Two Pop-Tarts because they come in the little envelope.
I'm going to guess around 32, 35.
32 grams. A little lower. Higher.
Oh, higher? Okay.
Higher.
Maybe like 44.
Still a little bit low. Two Pop-Tarts is 70 grams of carbohydrates or 25% of your daily allowance. Can you believe that?
No. Wait, are you serious?
I wouldn't lie to you, Sami.
Oh
I
my
went to the grocery
gosh.
store. I was like a little kid writing these down. Okay, what would probably be the worst? I'll throw this at Sami, the first one. And I thought, Pop-Tarts. Because to me, as a traveling comedian, that's like the morning staple. You have to drive 8 hours to another gig, and
Wow.
you get up there, and if the hotel doesn't have the free breakfast, you go to the convenience store, fill up your car with gas, and you get a couple of Pop-Tarts. So figure 8 Pop-Tarts, which I've never eaten, but so that's your whole carbohydrates for the day
Oh.
right there. So if you like Pop-Tarts, if you're listening, know that it's very expensive. You're spending a lot of your carbohydrate budget.
Stop the tart. I'm kidding.
Stop the tart. Okay, what you got?
Okay, so I have one that I just thought of, and this is not honestly, I don't even care. I'm gonna bluntly say this one is so unhealthy. So everybody listening, this one is like an ultimate killer. How many carbs does a McFlurry have? A 16-ounce McFlurry.
16-ounce McFlurry. I would guess 40 carbs, 40 grams.
Crank that thing up.
Crank it higher?
Yeah.
Wow. Are we in Pop-Tart territory? 65.
Crank it up.
80.
Crank it up.
100?
Crank it up.
Oh, man. 120. That's my final offer.
Yeah, 124.
I feel like I'm at an auction. Wow.
124 freaking carbs in a 16-ounce McFlurry.
Which are absolutely delicious, by the way.
No, they are amazing. Like,
Let's not, just because it tastes good, and it doesn't mean it's a bad for you.
But like that is literally like a killer. That's not even like remotely like, hey, moderation food. That's just like, oh.
That's half your budget. It's twice what Pop-Tarts were.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So makes Pop-Tarts sound like
you make Pop-Tarts
kale.
Look like a freaking fruit. Okay, sorry, Dobie.
No, that's great. Here's one because I think it's a hidden carbohydrate. Sweet pickles. I come from the Midwest in the United States. Pickles are a big deal. I love sweet pickles. You have them with, a snack, a sandwich, whatever. So there's just 3 sweet pickles.
Are they like big pickles or are they tiny?
They are. I'm not going to get into jokes here because it's a family show. It's yes, 3 medium-sized pickles.
Okay.
Sweet pickles.
Okay. I'm going to guess 15.
You're very close, a little bit lower.
12.
11. But think about that, 11 grams. If 90 is your budget, I don't want to waste my carbohydrates on pickles.
Like,
I mean, it's a throwaway thing.
And literally only 3 pickles. I'm like, no.
I want to drink hot fudge with a straw right out of the cup.
Yeah.
So that's just a surprise one. Okay, what's your next one?
That's a good one. I have, how many carbs does a standard cup of quinoa have?
Oh, I don't have any idea. I'm going to just guess 22 because it's the year 2022. That's my guess.
Crank her up a little.
22 and a half.
Maybe by 0.5.
40.
Yeah, just shy. 38 carbs. But here's an example. Quinoa is a killer food. So even though it has that many carbs, your body's utilizing it totally different than a McFlurry and a Pop-Tart.
Okay, yeah, quinoa seems healthy to me.
Fun fact.
Plus, it's a good Scrabble word. It's a good Scrabble word, too.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, here's one for you. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, which I'm assuming would go on a sandwich. Doesn't count the bread.
Okay.
Just the peanut butter.
What brand?
I don't want to say brands on the show because we might have a sponsor.
Okay, so sorry.
It's a leading brand of peanut butter, which has 3 letters in it that I think every kid has had sometime in their life.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to guess it has about 8.
Boo, bingo. Sammy, the queen of prognostication.
Queen carb counter.
The Vanna White of carb counting. You're right on there. But you think about it, that's, again, if you're going with 90 as the average, that's still a lot.
Yeah, it is. The calories of peanut butter, you put that thing, you like dump it, and you're over there like 500 calories. 3 tablespoons. Okay.
What's your next one?
How about a standard size banana?
Standard size, garden variety banana, 10.
Crank her up.
175.
Wrong. 27.
Like the Price is Right. 27, and one banana's got 27.
Yeah. Well, okay. That's also like a 7, 8-inch banana. So like a nice hefty banana that you're gonna eat, and it's gonna fill you up.
Okay, pickles and banana jokes. I'm gonna move away from this.
I'm sorry, Dobie. I'm trying to keep it PG here.
I'm trying to keep it. We're good here.
Okay.
Adults know what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you go.
Final, a soda, pop, whatever you want to call it, soft drink, sugared soft drink. I looked at all of them, and the highest one is, what would you think? 12-ounce serving.
77 carbs.
Ooh, no, you're way high.
Really? I thought Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That was the one. I know it's
Sorry, guys. Mountain Dew, you're great. Gotta give it to you, but.
I love it too.
Okay, but maybe, is it the sugars that are 77? And the carbs are what, like 62?
That could be. 46 grams of carbohydrates in a 12-ounce Mountain Dew.
That's still a lot because you just drink it,
That was the highest one I could find. Oh, and one is not enough. I mean, especially for me, and again, I know I'm abnormal, but driving across the country on a hot day as a comedian, I'll have, 3, 4, 5 Mountain Dews, or the big bedwetter size that you get at the gas station.
Yeah.
It's only got 46 grams. Yeah, that's 12 ounces. I've got a 72-ounce kidney buster.
I mean, yeah.
That's more than that. That's going to send me right to the ICU.
Definitely will. Definitely. Okay, I have another one.
Okay, go ahead.
Really quick. A cup of oatmeal because I was talking about oatmeal.
Okay, to me, that's a small serving, but I'll say 30.
You are doing great. Okay, it was 27. But yeah,
Okay.
kind of depends on the oatmeal you have too. But yeah, that's that right there, 27 carbs.
But it's not only the oatmeal, it's what you dress it up with, to me.
Totally.
I like peanut butter on oatmeal. We talked about this in a past episode, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, well, that adds it up a little bit. And then, skim milk. Is it okay to put skim milk on oatmeal?
Yeah, I think it is. I like it. I don't have milk, but I like almond milk.
Are you a doctor? Sami said, as I'm in the emergency room getting my pump, that Sami said I could have milk in my oatmeal, and I'm.
Dobie's in there.
This is just a start. I think we're going to play this game more. I like it.
I do too.
So thanks to our pod squad for coming up with that. She is Sami. I am Dobie. We're going to land the mothership right now. We'll be right back with more in this episode of Just My Type Podcast.
This is the Just My Type Podcast.
Sami, this is a fun episode.
I know. I like this one. It was a little like, what's that called? Ball curve? No, curveball. Oh my gosh, curveball, not ball curve.
Curveball, ball curve, whatever it is. The Dyslexia podcast will be starting next week on the Just My Type network. How can people get a hold of us, Sami? Because I think this is going to start some listener interaction. That's what we want. We always encourage your input.
Okay, so first off, question of the pod is going to be, what is your good and bad food? We want you to share and comment on our social media, which is for Instagram, TikTok, Twitter at justmytypepod_, and Facebook at justmytypepod. And you can hashtag us at hashtag justmytypepod. But we want you to answer the question because I'm curious. So question of the pod, what is your good and bad foods? Again, this is like pre-warning, good and bad does not literally mean good and bad. It just means how it works with your individualistic blood sugars.
I don't think I have one myself. I have to start experimenting more. What is yours?
My good foods are fruit and plant-based foods, and my bad foods are, like oatmeal and bread.
We are the Just My Type podcast. She's Sami. I'm Dobie. Thank you for listening. And Sami,
c'est la vie, baby.
This is the Just My Type Podcast.